There's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, Gumpers.
Hola, bon dia, alegria, Munson here with Good Morning Portugal show, live stream and podcast. How was your, I was going to say Christmas. I can't believe Good morning, Munson here with Good Morning Portugal show, live stream and podcast. How was your Easter? Very good, I hope. Look, Anna's here, Andy's here. The three wise men were here some time ago. Thank you, Ian, Coach Turner. James, who'll be with us at 9, of course, T-Duck, and Marcus is in already. Amazing. I think people want to share their, maybe their experiences. Oh, Victoria's just popped in as well. Their experiences of Easter. What a fantastic weekend it's been. I hope yours was good. We have so much video to share with you this morning. Thank you to Andy for video, to John and Owen for video. To Veronica for video, 2 lots of video actually, a nice compendium collection of her Barcelona trip, which we'll play later on for the Iberian FM section. Bobby O'Reilly is a bit of a dab hand in the kitchen, it turns out, as well. So we've got some a remarkable footage of his big reveal. Oh yeah. Victoria sent us in a lovely video as well this morning. I hope I didn't miss anyone there. Oh, Doug's Bugs. With nothing to do with the World Economic Forum. Doug's Bugs are the beetle, a little bit of a beetle gathering. What do they call those? A beetle? Anyway, a beetle drive, maybe? No, is that something else? Anyway, Volkswagen, VW Beetles, a gathering of such vehicles in Tavira, which Doug captured for us as well. So lots to share with you. I better get on with it, hadn't I? Let's see who's here and what Coach Turner is urging us to do today. Good morning to you, Coach T. Bon dia todos, he says, and a happy Monday to you. A wet week awaits us in Blighty, but we have my daughter and family coming for lunch, which will brighten our day. We'll be listening over a hot stove. Good morning to you, Coach Turner, and Mrs. T there. And yeah, I'm minded to say that really I think mainly the Portugal Easter is concluded on the Easter Sunday. I was talking to João F yesterday. Great to see you, João F, as a GMP VIP over there on the private network. And lovely to talk to you yesterday evening and telling me that about in parts of the Alto Alentejo, the festivities do continue into today, but generally speaking, it's concluded by yesterday, and we'll see some of those lovely festivities. So in Blighty, however, where Coach Turner is talking to us from, whilst preparing food over a hot stove, the festivities continue. Easter Monday, of course, today. However, he's still busy as he is in the kitchen. He still has time to share with us a God Squad tip of the day, although not so much of a tip as an update on research. There's a lot of argument about the health benefits of walking versus running. It now appears that you burn roughly the same calories. Really? I suppose the difference is in the cardiovascular effect, presumably, and stretching yourself and having a bit of a puff. Anyway, that is for a given distance or number of steps. If you think about it, that makes sense as you're on your feet for longer when walking. In reality, it just depends on your preference. And of course, he concludes, the research is narrow and doesn't take into account variations such as Carl's favorite, fartlek, or high-intensity interval training. Guilty as charged. So I like to say fartlek whenever I can, whilst trying to keep a straight face. But it's also, for grown-ups, call it HIIT, with 2 I's, high-intensity interval training. But it's another useful addition to the knowledge. Coach Turner, thank you very much indeed for that. Right, it's a bon dia alegria gumpers as well. Have a great day in the UK there, Coach T, with all the extended family. arriving and hanging out together today in Hertfordshire. Bon dia, Gumpers from T-Duck. Yesterday marked 2 years since we first arrived in Portugal, and as if that wasn't enough of a reason to celebrate and be happy, 32 years ago today, I married the love of my life. Happy anniversary, Mrs. Duck. And we have created something especially for such occasions. Check this out. From us to you, and on behalf of the whole GMP Gumper community, congratulations on those two wonderful moments in your personal history there. So 2 years since you first moved or arrived in Portugal, and 32 years ago married the love of his life. Happy anniversary to you, Mr. and Mrs. Duck, today. Excellent stuff. Celebrating milestones with you all the way here on the Good Morning Portugal show. So great. Let us know how you're celebrating today, T-Duck. Deep thought then. Moving on into the deep thoughts of Aldous Huxley. One touches, and if in the act of touching, one's touched. Yes. One would hope so. But in all seriousness, yes, it tells us something, doesn't it, about human interaction, being a human being. And we found out quite a lot about that on Friday evening, talking to the marvelous Stephen Jenkins. And I've not seen you since then, have I? The Death Guy, funnily enough, he's called. And in a good way. He is quite the speaker, teacher, leading light on how we might die a good death. And sorry to be talking about such matters. Sorry, not sorry, really, because if you watch the interview, you'll see the importance of embracing all that is life and death and the continuum thereof. And it relates to this, really. One touches, and in the act of touching, one's touched. We are not islands, are we? We are all connected. Everything we do echoes throughout eternity. I didn't know I was going to end that sentence like that, but it echoes throughout eternity. Everything we do affects everything. And that is quite a responsibility, but I believe it to be true. And in his most famous novel, Brave New World, Emmanuel perhaps, and his final novel, Island, Aldous Huxley presented his visions of dystopia and utopia. That's the Bond movie, Dystopia. Sean Connery, James Bond in Dystopia and Utopia, respectively. We don't hear so much about Island, do we? We hear a lot about Brave New World, funnily enough. Portuguese saying of the day. Thank you for your Aldous Huxley quote there, which is poignant and touching, of course. Pun intended. Portuguese saying of the day, guarda moço a caras velho. Keep it young, you will find it old. What does that mean? Diligent youth makes easy age. Okay. A bit like the sort of chronological, if you take care of the pennies, the pounds will look after themselves, perhaps, or the centimos and the euros. So keep it young and you'll find it old. Okay. So look after yourself for maximum mileage, perhaps, another way of putting it. The who knew in Portuguese, the quem sabia, traditional Portuguese folk music has deep roots in local customs, utilizing instruments such as bagpipes, drums, flutes, tambourines, accordions, and ukuleles. Who doesn't like to say ukulele like that? Ukuleles. Let me just check them. Everything's going out fine. Oh, thank you very much. Subscription on the coffee bot. I think Francis may well have just become, or Francisco, yes, may have just become a GMP VIP. So there's only a few places left at the €9 subscription rate, and he's bagged one of them. Support on coffee. There you go. You can do the same if you would wish to. I'm going to put that up to €19. I think it's going pretty well over there on the GMP VIP HQ. I'm finding that I'm enjoying it much more to focus my energy into one particular place where there's a lovely, loved up atmosphere. I feel loved. I hope the people there feel loved and supported. In fact, I got a lovely, this is what it's all about, actually. A slight digression there. We'll come back to the who knew in just a moment. But I wanted to check in the chat that everything was going out okay. I feel it is. And look, I'm a GMP VIP. This is what happens if you go and sign up at GMP. All the coffee, ko-fi.com/GMP. And this is a sort of feedback we get with what we do for people. You provide not just information, but a community pre and post move support, comfort, and reassurance through your person and the show. Thank you very much. Well, I appreciate that. That was from Anna. And please, yeah, get involved over there on the GMP VIP platform. That's where that's where we've taken it to another level in terms of offering people support on their journey to Portugal and being here, starting a life, or even if you're 2 years into it, like T-Duck just told us. Okay, thank you very much, Francis. Really appreciate you for doing that this morning. Much appreciated. King Sabio, let's go back then to the bagpipes, drums, flutes, tambourines, accordions, and ukuleles within Portuguese folk music is the genre of fado. This will be going into the GMP VIP platform where there's a classroom and all of these factoids end up there. In fact, I was putting one up about tempura, which of course the Portuguese took to Japan. That went in there this morning. A melancholic urban music. That's not really selling it, is it? Mum for short. Melancholic urban music, #mum on the genres, originated in Lisbon in the 19th century, usually associated with the Portuguese guitar and saudade or longing. Internationally notable performers include, of course, the Queen of Fado, Amália Rodrigues, Carlos Paredes, José Afonso, Marisa, Carlos do Carmo, Antonio Chaino, Mizia and Dulce Ponche and Madredeos. Very good. There you go. There's your potted history of Fado right there. Thank you very much, T-Duck, for that. And from James, the third of the three wise men. We're usually queuing up to bestow upon you knowledge and support. Yeah, support. God Squad tip of the day, all that T-Duck brings, including dad jokes, which I will share at the end of the show. The who knew, the Portuguese saying of the day, the factoids there, the great stuff. And of course, James, who will be with us at 9, one of the three wise men, queuing up before 8:30 in the morning. Bom dia, Gampas, feliz segunda a todos, she says. Como foi o vosso fim de semana? Now, he's one of the people who has video promised for us, but he's going to premiere his own video when he arrives. I don't even know what he's going to be sharing, which makes me feel a little bit nervous. But we shall see. So first of the videos this morning, we've got a lot of video to get through, so she'll crack on and move on here. Let's go first then. Should we work our way down the country? I think we'll do that as much as I am able to figure this out. We'll come back to the little Barcelona compendium collection later on when we move into Iberian FM territory. But let's see what happens in Ponte Lima on an Easter Sunday. Whoa. Nothing to be worried about, but I guess if you're sitting there on Easter Sunday and you're thinking to yourself, isn't it lovely and peaceful? The birds are singing, children are playing in distance, cockerels crowing, dogs barking, and then what the blazes? It's all very normal in northern Portugal. Yeah, it's all good. It's just a celebration. It's a loud celebration of the Easter Sunday up there. Tell us more about it, Gerald de Nord, if you don't mind. Who's here this morning? Sounds like Chicago. Stop it, T-Duck. So Gerald de Nord and Owen are here, who I think can tell us more about that experience. Tabitha Lindeboom, just woken up. Morning! To you, Tabitha. Thank you for being a very prolific part of the GMP VIP network. Glad to be part of the community, says Francis. And I know it was worth it even before the GMP VIP. Well, very kind of you to say so. Bon dia, ladies. Oh, I see. From Antonio F. Good morning. I imagine that extends to us fellas as well, but ladies first. Good morning, Anna. Good morning, everyone who is not Anna. Very good. Very inclusive. Ancient Mariner. Good morning to you. And a greeting from Francis. Bon dia, alegria a todos. Hope you all had a great Easter and are tired of chocolate for a while now. Happy New Year. Yeah, we spend a lot of the year, don't we, telling kids not to eat chocolate and then giving them more chocolate that they can possibly cope with and feeling a little bit sick by the end of the Sunday. Anyway, that's us, funny human beings. Lee's also in, as is Bayrandi. with greetings. A bon dia from Peshawar, back in the beautiful Bayrada from visiting the outlaws in deepest, darkest France. How was that, I wonder? France is an interesting place to be at the moment, is it not? Victoria spent a boa Pascua at a fabulous Indian restaurant in Calvoero, accompanied by the raucous 70s rock and roll of the Basement. Ah! If you don't know them, you should. So look out for them. And yeah, PT Country Bear Marcus is in as well. Bon dia, Grip and Andy Klein. And the Swede in Portugal, of course, is Anna. Okay, where did we get to? Let's play some more video, shall we? Because we've got a lot of video to get through this morning, including a premiere from James, who's been busy editing himself. Not editing himself, he's been busy editing himself. Okay. Not gene editing, video editing. Okay, let us play the next video. And I hope we are in Aveiro now. Which is it, this one? I think it's this one. Let's see. If it's not, this will be VRSA, where Veronica sent us some lovely video of the Easter celebrations. I've got both of those to come. Hopefully this is Aveiro. If it's not, it's VRSA, and then it'll be vice versa. This is like if Jesus was a football team. Hallelujah, hallelujah. That was amazing. And that was VRSA. It wasn't Aveiro. But this is... Oh, why is there no sound? Oh, don't like it when that happens. Okay, we're going to watch this silently. And hopefully we'll be able to get an audio version of it. But you can hear the voices and sounds in your head, can't you? That's a Gumper prerequisite, the voices and the sounds in the head. Look at that. That's amazing. I don't know why this. I think this sometimes happens when I've got an Andy Klein video. But isn't this lovely through the streets of Aveiro at the weekend? We can. I think we can imagine what the sound of that. It's not a brass. It's a woodwind band, isn't it? A woodwind band there, processing through the streets there. Then we'll make sure at some point we've got a nice audio included version of that. But that looks superb in Aveiro there. If you've not been to Aveiro, get yourself there. What a fantastic city that is. I have walked those streets. Superb. Excellent stuff. Nice bit of processing and great weather for it. I think, generally speaking, we had pretty good weather, didn't we, here in Portugal, right through until a little bit of rain yesterday evening. So thank you very much for that. Aveiro, VRSA. And now we go to, Herdade Aroeira, south of the river. Of course, we talked a lot about that with Bobby. And here he is with a big reveal. This is what he'd been cooking in the last few days. It takes a long time to prepare and serve a welly such as this. Check this out. Perfection.
What happens?
What? Oh! Ooh.
Nice, no?
You made it. Cheers.
Perfetto. Sláinte.
Happy Easter.
Sláinte. I think did you see the look on his face? He's quite chuffed with that. Very, very good. And he invited me to a steak group on Facebook where 1,000 people adulated him publicly for that. But that did look pretty impressive, didn't it? I think what happens there is you have a joint of beef, don't you? And then you cover it in slowly cooked mushrooms, and then a pastry case around that. I did make a mushroom version of that for some vegetarian friends, I think a couple of Christmases ago. But I do have to say, I like the look of that, Bobby. Excellent stuff. Brilliant. Congratulations on producing what looked like the perfect beef Wellington there. And it seems a little awkward playing this now, but here are some cows in the Algarve from Victoria.
Hello. You and all your hungry friends.
That's an awkward segue, isn't it? I'm going to get to the comments. All right. Darren's here. You see, he's British and he is still saying Happy Easter. I think it's pretty much done and dusted here in Portugal by Sunday. But as a Brit, he's enjoying Easter Monday, whether he's in Portugal or Britain. Okay, let's see what else is being said here in the comments and what other images I have to bring to you. In Miranda de Corvo, no fireworks, brass bands, gymnasts, that's novel, mixing, singing, erection of a cross, as you might expect, lots of priests wandering. He is risen. Lots of priests wandering about. Stop giggling in the back there, James. Lots of priests wandering about and more singing. Did we ever tell you about when Mrs. M, I think it must have been Easter when we lived in Korea, not in the Far East, Korea, Curia in the central Portugal, just between Coimbra and Aveiro. And there was a procession of the baby Jesus upon is it a litter, where you have men carrying something upon their shoulders around the town? I think that's a litter, isn't it? Anyway, whatever it's called, there was one of those going around the streets, and we were we were invited to kiss the representation of the baby Jesus, and Mrs. M leant forward, and unfortunately, because of the way she was leaning over the fence to do so, she kissed Jesus on the nether regions, which was a little bit awkward, but we all just pretended nothing had happened and carried on. Happy Easter, everybody. Bonjour, Andrew. Bon dia, Antonio F. Anna is working the room. That's my all-time favorite noise. The sound of a brass band disappearing into the distance. Ancient mariner, honestly, what you like. Cheering Jesus like, exactly, that's what I thought, shouted out. Hallelujah, hallelujah. And yes, Jesus saves. There's another kind of football related. And the attacker doesn't manage to get the rebound in. Look, someone's ahead of me here. Jesus saves, but Ronaldo out in the rebound. There you go. Great minds thinking alike this morning. Puts in the rebound is what that was meant to say in his hasty typing. And Joao de Nort, those were very extra rare beef Wellingtons. They were. It was a pair, wasn't it, by the time we sliced them in half? Joao, burgers with horns. Now, come on, let's show some respect to the creatures who give their lives to us. Wow, incredible stuff. Okay, let's see what else we've got in the... Oh, and news, actually. There was a very interesting petition that was doing the rounds that I feel the need to tell you about as well. Just a little bit of news, and now we've had a look at what's been going on Easter-wise. Oh, I've got pictures from... even though I couldn't bring you sound from Aveiro, I've got some beautiful images, more beautiful images, and this very interesting... petition about people over 75 not wanting to do the language part of the naturalization process. Now, where did it go? Got it here somewhere. Okay, Petição Pública. Well, that's an interesting thing as well. The fact that here in Portugal, there is an online petition thing, which I knew nothing about. And I imagine that there is also, this is where the Golden Visa petition is as well, because a group of Golden Visa participants, people in that process who are a bit peeved about what's going on, have created their petition as well to not have the legislation go through as the government has proposed, and to not feel so badly treated. I think it's interesting, isn't it, with Golden Visa folk complaining about being poorly treated. I think they are in their own way, but sometimes I think people find it a little bit of a struggle to feel sorry for, for people who are throwing loads of cash about. But I think we can extend our compassion on the basis of their poor treatment. So they've created a petition for that. And there is also this other petition, which I shall have to translate, ironically, because it is about it's about not speaking Portuguese after the age of 75, at least in the test. Oh, what's this? I'm using...
E pessoas com idade igual ou superior a 60 anos que não saibam ler ou escrever. A prova do conhecimento da língua portuguesa.
All right, I can stop it now. That was good, wasn't it? Now I was just about to slag off Microsoft browser, but that was pretty good. I thought that feature there. I'm going to have to go back and research that later on. Here is the petition in question. Petição Pública. And isn't it funny when you see other people's browsers, you can see what they've been looking at. And you can see I've been looking at Nicole Kidman. In a good way, I hasten to add. She's bought a luxurious house. The word is on the grapevine. that she has bought a luxurious house here in Portugal. So there you go, a bit of celebrity goss there. But here, the petition, alteration to the test of ability to speak and write fluently in Portuguese for naturalization. And this is to not His Excellency, but I think a politician, Senor Nuno Robi Amorim. We, the undersigned, support the elimination of language proficiency for those 75 years or more as a requirement for Portuguese citizenship. Now, if they come on the Portuguese Immersion Experience, and we'll talk to Anna about that at 9:30, they may not have so much to worry about. More from Anna at 9:30, or Anne, in brackets A, Anne from Belgium, Anna, when she's here in Portugal. In the case of persons with serious health problems or disabilities with a degree of disability duly proven by a multi-purpose medical certificate issued under Portuguese law, or persons aged 60 years or over who cannot read or write, the proof of knowledge of the Portuguese language must be appropriate to their ability to demonstrate knowledge of this language. We have been talking to James about this, haven't we? And these are the two bits of law that are being cited. And it's quite a mouthful of a petition. And maybe that's why there's only 65 people who have signed it. I think this needs a bit of an eye over it from a copywriter. I can do that if you want me to. And this was sent to me by somebody over the weekend. I think it's interesting. We might get them on the show to talk about it. They're asking, I think, for a small modification that will allow citizenship to people aged 75 and over, individuals who will then be able to feel the security and emotional comfort guaranteed to live in Portugal's democracy through the sunset years. Isn't that nice? So I think what they're saying is, as well as those other what would they be? They're not loopholes, are they? But allowances for people with special needs and difficulties in taking part in that linguistic test. They want that to be. They want people over 75 to be freed from that burden or challenge as well. A modification will elevate Portugal's reputation in the global community to the top of the tolerant, open, compassionate, and first world societies. Okay, so a good case being made there, and that will be Richard Emerson there. I can say his name because this is a publicly published petition, and Richard may join us on the show to give us a bit more backstory himself on that. So there you go. That is the petition to have people over the age of 75 not having to do the A2 language test. What are you saying in the chat here? We got T-Duck urging us to like the smash button. And Chris Smith, good morning to you. I was in a trivia competition, a bar trivia competition. The winning team name was He Is Risen, but the ladies were not impressed. Is that the whole name? He is risen, but the ladies were not impressed, honestly. I was slightly horrified to wake up from a heavy night to the bells ringing and a group of people in religious robes heading right into my apartment block yesterday morning. What did you think you were going to have to make a hasty confession from the broom cupboard or something like that, Darren? I think you're having a great time in Porto. You sent me a video to prove that. You think you might be in love with Porto, and I will play that video sometime this week. So stay tuned for an excellent one of Darren's quick fire videos. Or I think he slowed it down because I made a bit of an old Giffer complaint to him. His videos were a little bit too rapidly edited, and I think he slowed them down, especially for me. Bless you, Darren. And sorry to hear about that invasion into your hangover there yesterday. Hope that went and ended up okay. So yeah, we couldn't play the music, we couldn't play the brass band, but here are some beautiful pictures from the event. Actually, earlier on, before we see those lovely girls there walking down said street here, let me just take off Darren's comment as well. It's not entirely appropriate here in this situation. So people getting ready in the streets of Aveiro, and they're putting foliage. I'll call it foliage. It looks like my lawn after I trimmed it yesterday afternoon. And actually, I did feel bad about strimming on an Easter Sunday. I was thinking to myself, if I was in England, people might be twitching their curtains and thinking, for goodness sake, must one really strim on Easter Sunday? This is terrible. I'm gonna put something in the parish news about this. But actually, my neighbour was jet washing his rug. No euphemism. He was actually jet washing a rug on his garden gate on Saturday night. And as you can see, there were fireworks and explosives on Easter Sunday morning in the north. I don't think people mind too much. So anyway, I could have added to this scene here with my strimming clippings. The lanes of Aveiro, There they are. Isn't that beautiful? The effort people go to, it's really wonderful. And I think as people process down the street, they crush the herbivorous content, or the herbal content, I should say, of the foliage, creating a beautiful aromatherapy effect in the streets there. And a little bit later on, where a few more people have arrived as well. Look at those pretty little ladies there. Fantastic. Well done, Avedo. Thank you, Andy, for those. It is 1 minute past 9. How rude of me. Let's bring him on, shall we? Here's the Fraser of Good Morning Portugal, especially on a Mindful Migration Monday. And here he is. Yes, I can do it now. And here he is, because I found his music. Swing.
Bom dia.
Did you jet wash your rug over the weekend?
No, I haven't tended to that for a while.
Oh dear. Muito bem, obrigado.
Aren't you sorry you asked?
I am. I really
love your color, though. I love the color.
As red as the Portuguese flag, isn't that? Which is better than being green, as the Portuguese flag.
Yes.
Oh, it's the way you tell them, James. It's the way you tell them. So I don't have to ask you if you had a good weekend. I think I can safely ask if you had a good Easter.
Absolutely, yes. My second in Portugal now, also again shared with the family that are now my friends and immediate neighbors. Very nice, very relaxing.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So a leisurely one, no fireworks, explosives.
No, when you showed the video, I had actually seen Owen's video on Facebook, and I said, boy, the Portuguese do love their explosions. They just love loud bangs in the sky.
They really do.
Yeah.
There they were. We shared them this morning. Any excuse though, it's not just Easter, is it? A lot of Sunday mornings they'll be banging, so to speak.
Yeah, it's like, hey, it's 10 a.m. Let's do that, or earlier, possibly, whatever. Just
right.
I woke up. Let's do that.
Oh, I think the jet washing theme is quite popular this morning. Coach Turner has a power shower, it would appear. Right, James.
Right, good to know.
Seen that a lot of video has been shared this morning. Fantastic. And I'm so glad people have been sending in their videos. You can do that to WhatsApp 913-590-303.
But there is a limit on the size of the videos, apparently. I discovered in my process. I think it was 64, I was going to say kilograms. No. Wrong measure.
Yes, I don't
megabytes. I think it was 64.
It goes to excess baggage if you send anything over a kilogram on WhatsApp.
Yes, exactly.
To pay extra. Well done, Zuckerberg. Yeah. Well, I think you might either you were sending me a very long movie or a very highly produced movie with a lot.
Well, probably neither. It's 2 minutes and 13 seconds, but
okay.
And you were right about me editing myself, so right. In every sense. So well done.
Wow. So post-production is personal development then. Editing yourself at every level. Love it.
Every day is a school day for me, and the last day has been a more technical aspect of my education.
And how have you found that? Because I've had one or two conversations, haven't we, about you entering into the technological wizardry of video editing. How has that been?
It's worked out to the extent that I can figure it out, which I'm sure is pretty clumsy. What I've been attempting to do is edit or download YouTube videos so that I could edit them, of the show. Yeah. But YouTube has not surprisingly, figured out a way that you cannot download their videos.
Right.
So it's like, all right, now what do I do? And apparently there are some sketchy apps that could be used,
Yes.
or you might end up on porn sites. So you just never know when you're trying to use those apps.
The box of chocolates.
So what I did for this particular one is I actually screen recorded the video, which meant I had to go through the entire segments of videos that I wanted to edit, which is a bit time consuming, but it worked. So I'm finding a way.
Okay. Yeah, I do use those sketchy ones. And I haven't had the outcome that you've described there, although I have been taken to other sites. And I think that's what these YouTube downloaders, I mean, that's their part of the bargain, I suppose, isn't it? They'll download the video for you if they can attract you to clicking onto something else. And I think some have malware. You have to be careful. Yes. And we may even get a recommendation this morning of a good way to do that. But perhaps it's against the terms and conditions of YouTube anyway to be downloading videos.
Probably,
which I think
yes.
It's okay if they're your videos, I think you could make a decent case. But if anyone knows a good way to get YouTube videos downloaded, do let us know. And there's something in the air because Andy Klein is working on a video production course for us for our GMP VIP platform, making videos from your mobile, which I'm sure will include some editing help as well. So thank you, Andy, for that offering.
Yeah, and I know you can download, or at least you can edit your own videos that you have put on YouTube. But in this case, I'm trying to edit Good Morning Portugal videos. So it won't let me. But I worked it out, so I'm happy.
Okay, well done. I think Andy's trying to send me something. Maybe you put a link already in the chat, and I don't think it likes links in there. Oh my goodness, it's so difficult doing things sometimes online, isn't it? You may have posted a link. I don't think it liked it, Andy, but if you send that to me personally, I'll make sure everybody gets it. Connie's here. Bon dia, Carl and James. Good morning,
Connie. Bon dia.
Connie, and love to honk as well. And it is like we said, full of ads. So watch what you click. Literally, be careful with what you click there. So back to you then, Spielberg. What have you been up to?
I've been making a video. Talk about spending a weekend. It's forever. It takes me 3 hours to do what people who know what they're doing takes about 3 minutes. So I get a good long education in the process. But
you might be able to cut it down to 2.5 minutes in time.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. So, but it's fun, and for me, the beautiful thing about the life that I've created here in Portugal is I have the time. You know, time is available to me. So it's like I got interested in this, I'll do that. It's amazing. What life can be when you can focus your attention on something you really are inspired to do and not have to deal with the distractions of, going to work or something like that if you don't happen to love your work, you know. So it's been great. And so it's all a lead up to, you mentioned now Thunder Duck's anniversary, and you said something about milestones. So it occurred to me, well, speaking of milestones, just over a year ago, you pitched me this idea of being the Mr. Rogers of Good Morning Portugal.
Yes.
And 1 year to the day tomorrow was our very first episode. The very first time we did that. Yes. So I thought I would celebrate that, and at the same time, because the spot is primarily on mindfulness, well, usually
if on a good day,
depends on what we're paying attention to in the moment. But that the notion of celebration we've talked about a bit before, but taking a moment to land right here and now and consider where we've been and what we've done to get to this place. And the process of immigrating is definitely lends itself to that, with the various appointments and the various issuing of residency cards and so on. And it's important, and I think it gets lost a a lot at least in American culture, maybe modern culture in general. Short of, putting up some sort of GIF on somebody's birthday celebration on Facebook or something, but the notion of actually landing in a celebration, landing in a space of really appreciating the distance that's been traveled over whatever time period, I think is important for us. I think it's built into our DNA. It may have something to do with our survival. I don't know. That's usually what's in our DNA, is what helped us survive. So anyway, I thought that this was a great opportunity after a year of doing these spots, which I couldn't believe. I only know because I've been collecting each of the shows we've done with the idea that I might use my spots as a YouTube channel function for myself at some point. Yeah. And so I have them all numbered and I have them all dated. And I realized coming up on this last week, said, wow, that was the 51st episode out of, so that's 52 weeks. That's a year. So it really struck me. And then I looked at the date. I said, oh, that one aired on April 11th and today's April 10th. So I thought this would be a perfect Monday. And that is that is the setup for the video that I put together. You pitched me Mr. Rogers. I was thinking more Garrison Keillor from a Prairie Home Companion. So anyway, we ended up with this Thoughts with the Redwood thing on Mondays ahead of Gilda. I don't know how it works. I think I've got the video queued up in the studio. So do you see it there? And can you play it, or do I play it?
Because we've got a new feature.
There it is.
After this is a certain American gentleman now living in Portugal with his thoughts on life for you. We're going to do this every Monday. Let's get, hold on, before we do, let me just play. What a lovely bit of music, and what a lovely gentleman we have on the screen with us this morning. James, are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. And the thing is, of course you're there. We can see you there, but I was wondering if we could hear you. And we can hear you loud and clear. So message from the Redwoods, thought from the Redwoods. You're working on a range of different names this morning. We know and love you as James in Ericeira. A few months in now from arriving from Santa Cruz in California.
6 months.
6 months, a legend as well, already within our community. And I saw somebody tracked you down on Facebook over the weekend. I found you. I need to speak to you. You are this resource to people. You're also the banana slug. You are here this morning because we had a little chat, didn't we? I see you as our sort of resident pastoral, caring, empathic, good guy who is a stand for our happiness and well-being and peace of mind here in the Gumper community. And I thought, well, let's get James on a Monday morning and see what he's been thinking, see what no pressure or anything, but what words of wisdom do you have for us? And I don't know if it's fair to do this, but I make the comparison to you and Mr. What's he called? Mr. the icon
Rogers
of America.
yes.
Yeah, he's our very own Mr. Rogers, taking care of that part of our psyche. And I thought, why not do this on a Monday morning? Perfect. If anyone's feeling a little bit downbeat or blue on a Monday morning, who better than to just tee off the week in a light-hearted and wholehearted way than you, sir? Excellent stuff there, mister.
Hey, voila.
That is great, isn't it? So you were the banana slug, Garrison Keillor nearly, Will Rogers, Mr. Rogers, Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers, yes. And now Fraser. It's evolved.
Look at that. And Joao Denor, it's bringing back memories. I remember that episode. My first impression was I thought the cowboy hat on the stairs were cool. And it does not mean what you think. Because he's here. It can't mean that. He's on the screen with us right now. The cowboy hat on the stairs. So it's great, isn't it? That's been there all this time. It is the marker of the past.
Yeah, it's my background. It's probably, if people meet me on the street, they'll wonder where that mirrored door and the hats and the little glass bricks are.
Yeah,
they're not behind you.
Yes, he doesn't take, although it's available on a t-shirt, or it will be soon in the GMP merch. Incredible. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. And I agree with you. I agree. Perhaps we don't necessarily mark and celebrate the milestones as deeply as we might. And I think that's part of your message this morning, right?
Yes, and I actually have a question both to you and to the community. I would love to see in the comments, which is what sticks out in your memory of the 52 shows that we've done? Like, is there any particular thing that had specific meaning, or that you found really hilarious, or something that you recall from this 1 year of experience on Monday mornings? So I'll throw that to you, Carl, first, and then hopefully our community will respond to that question.
I don't have a particular moment in mind, but I do have a particular quality or experience in mind, which is what just happened when we were talking about jet washing the rug, and you threw me and I went beetroot red, and I love, those are my favorite moments.
Me too.
Where I'm out of control in a way that I couldn't have possibly imagined, and you can't prepare for that, you can't rehearse it, and it happens. And I'm glad to say it happens on a regular basis. You know, it might happen every other show or something. There's a moment that is just coming out of the now, what you talk about. If not for our ability to hang out together in the now without too much planning or forethought, or some might say in a completely unrehearsed and unprepared way,
maybe even unprofessional, I don't know.
Sometimes unprofessional. What wonderful magic happens, doesn't it, where we're all, I imagine quite a number of us are giggling around the world at something that's just happened that we couldn't have possibly predicted. And that really is my that's my favorite experience or time of the show, for sure.
Likewise, I was going to say, you know, one of my favorite, when you did the beet red thing today, I said that's one of my favorite things is when that happens. So you and I are on the same page on that one. Yeah.
And Connie's on that page as well. Look, when you make Carl erupt in laughter, it's the best. There you go. Exactly that moment, Connie. Thank you for enjoying that as well. Matty's here. Bom dia, alegria a todos. A cloudy Pombal. Boa segunda-feira de Páscoa. It's Easter Monday, wondering if the barbershop will be open. Probably not. Well, that's random. I don't think that's his favorite moment. But yes.
James is on. I wonder if the barbershop is open the day after Easter.
Yes. Well, there is a connection, of course, isn't there? Because you were a hairdresser, so maybe these things do like.
Perhaps, yeah, perhaps.
Yeah, so there you go, Connie. Thank you for being quick with that. And Joao remembers the first episode as well. That's incredible. That's incredible. And a great bit of work there. And anyway, he's carrying on in his random way here. Anyway, I'll go to the Bomberos for a blood donation.
Why not?
He's going to go and pick up some blood. I didn't know you could do that at the Bomberos. Did you?
No.
That would explain why all those people in capes are there outside the Bomberos. Not in the mornings, actually, just under the cover of darkness.
Yeah, or in the shade, perhaps. Yeah.
Yeah.
With those dark capes and those very sharp teeth. What are they? I always wonder what they were doing there.
Can't believe it's been that long. Time flies when you're having fun, James.
Yeah, and I will say my experience is I used to say that, and I say, you know, and as you age, time just flies, and it seems to accelerate. You know, it just, wow, where did it go? Yeah, pretty amazing.
Okay. Well. And I don't know many older people or aging people who say, "Oh, time is just standing still."
Oh, it's just so dragging. So it's taking so long to reach death. God, come on, let's go.
Can't believe it's Easter again, or Christmas, or my birthday. So yes. I've got this for you. It was created this morning and shared with T-Duck, who of course is celebrating a 2-year milestone. So we're on the same page here, James. I was aware that T-Duck was having this 2-year anniversary of being here in Portugal, which pretty much coincides with 32 years of marriage as well. I'm going to play this again, especially for you. And we've also had another wonderful milestone. And apparently it's Marcus's birthday today as well. Little bird tells me.
Wow, happy birthday, Marcus.
A birthday in, not only a birthday, but a birthday in Portugal. These are special, aren't they? And I recognize that bottom right picture. I think that is the little doorway, isn't it, in the Alcobaça Monastery, where if you're too big to go through it, you're not allowed in for dinner, which is really old school shaming of people who are putting on a few pounds. They just literally were not allowed in until they were thin enough to get back into the refectory. So I think that's Alcobaça, and I think you are in your lovely pool up there in central Portugal as well, Marcus. So have a wonderful day with Bill. Enjoy yourself today, and enjoy our little tribute here as well that you're sharing with James, who's done a year of these wonderful Migration Monday slots here. So let me find my parabéns video, specially created today to match. I take your video and I'll raise it, or at least match it with this one, James. So this is for you, and this is for Marcus. Have a great day, Marcus. Parabéns, congratulations. Okay, so keep those memories coming in of this last year with James on the screen here, the slug. We haven't talked much about the slugginess of you, so to speak, have we, for a little while? And that is quite a weird reference when we make it now, because some people don't understand what that's about. Can you give us a quick reminder of that? Because that was from the early days as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, sure. And I was going to say, I have watched every episode on replay, in part to study, to get a sense of how you and I go back and forth. And I noticed early on we tripped over each other a lot. We spoke over each other a lot. And we've now managed to kind of feel our pace, and we don't do it quite as much. And in the process of that, I saw, because I did several videos or several shows prior to this particular spot. And I can't remember where it was, but we actually, the very beginning of that show was talking about the history of slug. You know, where did the slug thing come from? And it was supported by the photo of the woman at the Bayards factory. So if you can find that, that might be a great visual. In essence, it came from the fact that I was living in California. I went to UC Santa Cruz, University of California in Santa Cruz, and the mascot for the university in Santa Cruz was unofficially the banana slug. And the reason for that is the banana slug is unique to solely the redwood environment, which is only in the world. It's only, to my knowledge anyway, it's only located on the west coast of the United States and British Columbia, and then I think it used to go, if it doesn't still, into Alaska. But that it was the west coast of the United States essentially is the only place where redwood trees grow, and that is the only place where banana slugs live. It's their only sole environment. So that's led to jokes about banana slug would love to be here, but he can't make the trip, you know, those kinds of things, because they can only survive in the forest. But the banana slug assignment, to me, came out of that identification with the university. And then it got kind of cemented in, because there were some comments about people who are familiar with UC Santa Cruz, oh, home of the slugs, and that kind of thing was going on. Yeah. So I guess that makes me a slug. So it was kind of casual until the Bayards thing came up, and you showed that one image, and it was of the woman at the factory wrestling this massive slab of Bayards candy, and it came up and around in a shape that to me, and it was yellow. I said, I think my comment was, it looks like a great big banana slug. And then it just kind of got locked in. Banana slug came from there. So then I started having fun with variations. Again, love making you laugh. And part of making you laugh is getting you confused. And it's more difficult than people might imagine. You know, getting Carl confused, it's not as easy as it may seem, because
as it may seem.
You're very focused and managing a million things. But then I started playing with the name, because you said, there it is. There she is, wrestling the slab. And then that led to a couple of memes. If I really thought this through, I'd have those ready that I could share. But memes of Slugfest 1, 2, and 3 with images of her wrestling a real banana slug that I had pasted together. So we had some fun with that.
She's special to us, that lady. She doesn't even know it, does she? It'd be so great to her one day.
Yeah.
That is, and if you've ever seen these lozenges, they are tiny, really, aren't they? They're just a little, sweetie wrapped up in paper, and they come from this huge slab of lozenge of well, molten lozenge, I suppose it would be, wouldn't it? And then just chopped and made into little sweets.
Yes.
The most spooky thing, though, James, apparently there's a company called James's. There's Bayard's chocolates, and they're sold by James's Sweetie Company. That is really spooky, isn't it? I don't. I'll have to send you some links to that. But that's so strange, isn't it? That there's all of that going on as well. And I will. I've lost it now, but there was. It was something like James's Sweetie Company.
And my dad joke mind went immediately to, I didn't know my sweetie worked there.
That is talking of your dad joke mind. That's another development, isn't it? Your love of the Star Trek memes. Here's today's. These do confuse me, I have to say. I
had to stop and think.
Yeah, me too. I can't hear out of my right ear, says Scotty, isn't it?
Are you sure? That's appropriate because he's Jim McCoy, right? Are you sure?
So that's Scotty and McCoy, is it? Yes, I'm deaf in it. Definite. You see? Dear, oh dear.
They get me. I know. Some people go, "Oh, James, I could never be your friend."
I do. But... Most mornings. Matty is going to the Bomberos to give blood, not to take it. Good for the body to be forced to produce more. Okay, that's a good way of looking at leaching, isn't it? And that's what's behind leaching, I suspect. Plus, get it tested, and also free blood test as well. And if something is not okay, you get noticed. Wow, free blood test.
Sorry, we can't use this. It's like, why? Well, you got to go to a doctor.
Immediately. Oh, thanks, says Marcus. And Monday is my favorite show of the week. There you go.
Thank you, Marcus.
Oh, nice. I didn't know you could give blood at the Bomberos. I don't think you can every day. I think it has to be a special. Is it a phlebotomy? Is that what it's called?
I think you have to wait a month before you can give again, Carl.
No, I'm not saying you. Well, yes, of course you can't go every day because you start to look a bit pale. But you have to go on the days when the phlebotomists are there, I think, offering that service. Now, look at this. Question is, what happens if you can pass through and get the lunch, but then won't pass through back again?
I was going to make mention, it becomes food prison.
That's bottom right.
If you love food, I can't get out. But I have to eat. So
it's got amongst overeating as well, I think.
It could be. Yeah.
I think it's organized by the proper blood donation organization. Saw a Facebook post about it. Yeah, so you have to look for the when they're there at your local Bomberos. Anna's just getting ready to join us. She's going to be talking about her Portuguese Immersion Experience, which you're looking forward to because that's come on a long way since we last spoke. A blood drive, got it, says Connie. I'm finding out the best place here in Gaia Porto to donate blood. There will be signs around local hospitals as well. I think I saw that when I was visiting somebody in hospital about the blood donation service. I'm happy. It is similar to what I was used to in Germany. Go there, ID yourself, answer questions, give a drop for testing, and then give, to be precise, as Matty often is, 450 milliliters there. In the Netherlands, it was more complicated. You had to get registered before, then make an appointment, so I never went in the Netherlands. Well, James is not such an uncommon name, even used as a last name. He's so rational, isn't he? He's so pedantic almost as well there.
If my parents had been really cruel, they could have, and my last name, the surname was James, they could have named me James. And
well, that is a certain...
would have made my life easier, first name, last name.
See, he doesn't believe in coincidences. That's why he's trying to break that down for me there. But that is odd and spooky, I think, that you should have a sweetie company almost named after you. And there's a Bayard's chocolates that they sell as well, given all that we've talked about.
And that my sweetie works there. I mean, come on.
Amazing.
How likely is that?
Yep. And there she is right there.
Right. Maybe that's it. Oh, full circle.
So what's her name again? Baumgartner.
I just know her as Sweetie. Yes.
Okay, but what's that name that we were working with
Stacy Baumgartner.
I think that's her. If she's called Stacy Baumgartner, I think
we're going to have to locate.
There are coincidences. Incredible. Okay. Before we bring Anna on, did you have a mindful migration Monday nugget, or was it all about the looking back over the last year here this morning, James?
Well, I think this was just an example of what I was talking about coming in, the notion of celebrating. And it just in this moment struck me that even with the loss of somebody, there and the notion behind celebrating a life as opposed to, being sad about the death, I think it's all appropriate. But we do tend to do it when people leave their form here. We tend to look back and say, oh, what are the memories? How do we remember this person? So that in effect is a celebration of that person's life. So this is a celebration in that way, thinking back and what impact did the last year have in whatever we've done, whether it's our birth or our marriage or our Good Morning Portugal show. An opportunity to look back and say, what impact did that past year have on this life that I call mine? So I think we're there, and it's important.
I didn't realize we got married. Now you've confused me. Did I get married to you? Did I get married to you on one of the shows?
I think you got married to Thunderduck. I got confused there too. There's something about an anniversary with Thunder. Yes,
it's all good. Let's give her a nice big round of applause. Thank you, James, so far.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you.
And bring onto the screen Anne.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm great. I'm in Belgium today. I've been in Belgium for a couple of days now, celebrating Easter with the family. So I kicked them all out of the house because there's 9 grandchildren in this family. So that's a really busy house. But they've all they went climbing, I think. So I have a couple of minutes of silence.
I was thinking to myself, that's a lot of ice cream you have to buy for 9.
That is a lot of ice cream, pancakes. Yeah.
Yes.
And all that.
Belgian waffles, of course. How do they celebrate Easter in Belgium, Anna? How's it been?
We just the children are not that small, and there's just one left who still believes in the Easter bunny. I hope I'm not spoiling anything for the kids if there are kids watching.
James, what do you mean? What? The Easter bunny? What?
Yeah. So we just we went looking for eggs, of course, yesterday. Chocolate eggs all over the house. Inside, because outside it was too hot in Belgium. Wow. So I brought the sun with me. Yeah. That's about it. And then eat a lot and drink a lot, of course. Yeah.
Excellent stuff. And
any excuse.
Yeah, you get to eat Belgian chocolate as well, which is known.
Oh yeah, we've eaten a lot. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
And you're here with us to give us the latest update on the Portuguese Immersion Experience, which we have, not unlike a huge piece of molten lozenge that is a national favourite. It has been formed in front of our very eyes, hasn't it, and evolved into quite the amazing service that you want to provide for people. So,
well, thank you. Yeah,
well, I think it's incredible the work you've done. We had a conversation, didn't we, at a meetup recently, and I'm really impressed with your conscientiousness and what you want to squeeze into this 3-day event for people to help them.
I really want to make it like transformational.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's the idea. The idea is that people really have the feeling of having a new look on things and knowing where to go from there, and so make it really, really count more. And with that, of course, having fun and everything else, because that's still why we're here, to enjoy life, of course. Well, not here in Portugal. So yeah, really strange to do this from Belgium.
We're in Belgium.
Yeah.
Here in all senses, really. Here everywhere. Here, yes.
So yeah, the idea is to really change things for people. So then it has to be good, and it has to be we're going to have some full days, but I'm really looking forward to it, especially because I've managed to ask many Portuguese people to help me with this, and so this is really going to be an immersive experience. We're going to have many Portuguese from all walks of life assist us and help us with what we're doing. So that's great. Yeah.
Excellent. I'd love it. Is it all right to have a detailed walkthrough, or would that be giving away too much?
Oh, no. Well, it's always difficult to give all the details, but I can, try
Before
to.
You do, though, Anna, for those people who are watching who don't know you, and I'll make a little segment of this, because this is a service, an experience that I want to share with people who are coming to Portugal, who already live here. Can you, before you walk through how it's going to be on those wonderful 3 days here in San Martinho de Porto on the Silver Coast, can you tee it up with your particular philosophy about learning the language and immersing in the culture? Because you are somewhat of a maverick, a southpaw in this regard, aren't you? Most people think to themselves, they take the standard route, don't they? Having grown up with schooling, is like, okay, I need to learn a new language. I need to get myself in the classroom. It's going to be difficult. And all of that stuff comes up, doesn't it, of people's prejudices or conditioning about education. Your approach is slightly different, I think.
Yes, absolutely. Well, it's what I try to do with. I think it's important, people who don't know me, it's important that they know where this comes from. I'm not. This is my career, really. I've devoted my life and my career to teaching people how to learn a language and how not to learn a language, especially that. Because I think it's important to know that indeed you don't have to go to school to get to where you want to, and that is to be able to connect with the Portuguese in our case. You can go to school. I'm not against schooling or lessons, because I teach lessons too. They can really support you in learning more quickly, but then they have to be brought in the right way. And the thing is that people think indeed that learning a language has to be difficult, has to be about studying, about exams. We've talked about that in previous broadcasts. It's horrible how it just brings back old memories of your childhood, having to oh, the door's open. Yeah, I'm online.
Have we got ice cream and waffles coming in?
Ice cream and waffles coming up. No, it was my father. I don't know what he needed. So where was I? That, especially that is horrible, because even as grown-ups, we come back into that feeling of having to, and then marks, and then you don't pass that exam, and then you have to take it again. And it doesn't have to be that way. Learning languages is the most natural thing that us human beings can do, because we've all learned language, our own mother tongue to begin with. And if we approach it that way, and we take into account like the affective filter, which is very important, to have fun while doing it, and to see also why you're doing certain things and learning certain things, then there is nothing more natural and nothing more rewarding than learning a language. And you can absolutely have, in those 3 days, not become perfectly bilingual, but understand where it comes from, how the system works, how we learn languages, and then focus on that instead of focusing on that next vocab list or grammar overview test and things like that. Yeah, so
that's wonderful. So it's a foundation, isn't it? I guess it's the whole experience is about getting yourself in shape for the future and learning new habits.
Absolutely. It all starts with, and that's also immediately the beginning of the 3-day project event is going to be about coaching. It's about mindset. It's about understanding how it works. So it's based and funded in science, of course. I'm not just, saying this. So we'll have to explain the science behind it very shortly, the whys and the hows, and then work on that mindset and work on rethinking how we view that difficult language to learn, because it's not that difficult. You just have not, if you find it difficult, if you find it complicado, then you have to start rethinking how you have learned it until now, and try a different approach. And believe me, trust that this works. I've been doing this not for Portuguese in the past, but for other languages for 20 years now, and it always works. There's a guarantee.
Brilliant. You'll be in good hands when you come to San Martino de Porto. You may have flown over it. You may have flown over this wonderful place where we live. This is it looks like a kind of James Bond crater, doesn't it, from that movie? I don't know which one it was.
Yeah, it does.
But if you fly over Portugal, as some people do, coming from the north of the planet, and you're coming down the Portuguese coast, you think that's an interesting little space. That is San Martino de Porto, and our whole town and culture is built around this beautiful, peaceful bay where you get a little bit of respite from the Atlantic, the worst effects of the Atlantic, and it makes for a very calm and beautiful place to be. And within that calm and beautiful environment, this is where Anna will be running a 3-day immersion event. So people will arrive, and they'll be coming possibly on the Sunday evening or into the Monday morning. What will they experience first, Anna?
Well, if they come, so there's a 3-day event. First thing, of course, very important, is to decide whether you're staying in a hotel, yes or no. We have all that covered too. We have a gorgeous hotel waiting for you, and very important, breakfast with a view on this magnificent bay. So that's very important, setting the mind's right and having a full belly to start with. It's really important. So we'll break the ice a bit, do a kickoff meeting, present, everything that's going to happen. And then we'll start straight away with the coaching, like the coaching, how to learn a language, how not to learn a language, the why, and this and that. So that's very important. And we're going to not stay in that theory too long, because it's very important to just do things also, and to feel why I'm teaching what I'm teaching. So in that first day, we have a speak date planned with many different Portuguese people who are going to, so you're going to be straight away connected with Portuguese. Oh, but I can't speak Portuguese. We'll help you with that. So there's no, you don't have to know anything. You don't have to be able to do anything. Have you got a good basis already of the language? Good. Then you'll do something slightly different. So everyone will be challenged at their level. But the idea is to connect immediately with Portuguese people, and to feel that you don't even have to speak a language to be able to connect in a certain way. We'll give you the tools for that.
Great.
Yeah. I'm not going to give away how I'm going to do it, but there is a way to connect straight away. Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent.
And that's what we're going to show and make people feel. And then, very important, the affective filter, we're not going to forget that one throughout the days, is also connection is done not only by language, but certainly by culture and feeling and tasting, and where I'm getting the culture. It's very important. So that first day is also going to be a cooking lesson, which is a very unique experience, because we are lucky enough to be able, excuse me, to be able to there is a cultural bar, you know that,
I do love
Carl,
that place.
in San
Yeah.
Martin. It's unique. It's so unique. It's so typical. It's so small. If you don't know where it is, if no one's told you, you won't find it in that little town of ours. But it's so unique. I've had many people visiting it with me, and every time I bring someone for the first time, they cry. There is something about that place which is just magical, and the people owning it. So normally on a Monday they're closed, but they're opening it just for us. So we will have a very exclusive experience there, and they will teach us. Well, we're going to cook our menu ourselves. That's it, really. So some typical Portuguese dishes from start to finish, so until the sobremesa. And then we'll eat it together, of course, in that unique setting that is the Baía Cultural. So that's the first day in a nutshell. There's many more things to come, but that's to give you an idea. So getting into talking about getting the mindset right, doing some coaching, knowing how to start from scratch, if it is from scratch that you're starting, and then getting into the cooking. And we're all going to do that with Portuguese, in Portuguese, etc., etc. So it will be
Superb.
Yeah.
We've got some. I think we've got some streaming problems here. James, can I ask a favor of you?
Would
you mind? Well, I'm seeing them. I hope nobody else is, but just in case they are, James, would you mind taking off your screen share for a moment, because that might be putting a little bit of a load on the processing. I'm not sure, but it might be one thing that we can do there. So Anna, that's cool. Onward then within the immersion experience. What else can we expect? We'll have our do we have to try and fit through one of those little gateways to see if we're do you know of this in Alcobaça? There is bottom right hand corner of the screen there. It's Marcus's birthday today, and there he is, I think, in Alcobaça. And that's how they used to keep the monks in good shape. If you couldn't get through that little doorway, you weren't allowed back in the or in or out of the refectory, it would appear. You're not going to do anything like that to people, are you, on this course?
No, not at all. No, there is no, you don't have to have any skill or any, it's just, you have to want, or you have to feel the need for this, and for learning the language, and be enthusiastic about doing that in a different way. And that's all you need. That's all you need. Yeah.
Perfect,
there is no, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So that's more or less the first day. So it will be about a mindset, coaching, and then, the culinary experience. And the second day is a bit different. So the first day, I have titles for my days. So the first day is breaking barriers, and the second day is Portuguese in action. So that will be, putting things into practice. First, start again with a beautiful breakfast, beautiful view, etc., etc., and then we'll go to that pronunciation, because that's the thing. And we'll try to. We're very lucky to have a very good Portuguese teacher helping us with that. I'm not going to do that. They say my pronunciation is not bad, but it's not Portuguese, of course. So we'll need some real Portuguese to help us with that, and we'll try to do it also again in a playful way. So nothing hard or difficult, but we'll get to the bottom of that pronunciation, because we don't have to underestimate the importance of that. We've already talked about that. Language is so much more than vocab and grammar, and the focus is too much on that. If you want to understand Portuguese, you have to understand the sounds. It's very important. If you want Portuguese people not to answer you back in English when you try to speak Portuguese, you need to get to that sound. That's the reason why they answer you in Portuguese, because they don't understand the sounds you're making, even though you think you're doing it right. So it's really important to get to that pronunciation. And there are tricks for that. So also there's a solution to that. We're just not doing it right.
Can I interject just a small piece here?
Yes,
because
absolutely.
A big piece of my focus on the language is pronunciation.
Absolutely.
And it's not unusual for me to say something very simple to a Portuguese, and they immediately start talking Portuguese to me.
Yeah.
And it's because I believe it's because I'm saying the words correctly in a way they understand, but it's way above what I can understand when they come back at me. But it's a consistent thing that happens. I speak a little Portuguese, mostly pronouncing it correctly, and even people I live with, they just switch back into their native language because they feel, the experience is they feel like they're talking to someone who's Portuguese or who can understand
and you can
them.
and you can start like really small with just being able to say hello or good morning, and have that right. If you have that right, you have a completely different reaction from people.
Yes.
Do. Yeah.
Well said.
And they also say that, like, that sounded, your Portuguese gets
Yes. Yeah, I get
and
that.
it's just that word or that sentence or that, but it really helps. Yeah. And it
that's
helps
the feedback I've been getting is not so much, oh, you speak a lot of Portuguese, but oh, you speak it well. And that's like, okay, great. That's my target. That's what I'm trying to do. So
yeah.
Excellent. Well done, James. And making the point very well there. Yeah, that's so good, isn't it? And I think people who don't make an effort on that, you hear it as well, don't you? When someone's in I'm thinking of my worst British stereotype, people who would be saying, "Hola, bon dia, obrigado." Those sorts of things are. If I was Portuguese, I'd want to speak English with them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It just
save them a lot of trouble.
It's not because they find it not good enough or whatever. It's just they don't understand. They don't understand. These sounds are really important in any language, and they just don't understand, or they fear that the next thing you might say is just like, well, we've already talked about that a lot. Like, there's even words that are so similar, but there's just that one accent that is different, and so there is really sounds have meanings in every language.
And
they
people
do.
want
So
to help as well, don't they? I think that's what goes on
Yeah.
as well. Is people are generally kind, aren't they? And want to get to where they want to get to in the easiest, safest, and probably the best way. And I think that's why that goes on. But if you can get the pronunciation right, you won't be necessarily being switching out of Portuguese. So good point, well made there, and thanks for that, James.
Yeah, thanks, James.
And it confuses me because then I don't understand them. But at least it signals that, oh, they think I know enough Portuguese, they can speak Portuguese to me.
But they're impressed with your accent, which it's a compliment, of course, and it makes already the connection easier. I mean, it's so simple sometimes.
Yes.
They just notice that you have oh yes, my website will be online. It's finished-ish tomorrow.
Okay,
tomorrow.
all right.
I'm still celebrating my Easter weekend in Belgium, so I'm working in between. I'll be on the plane back to Portugal tonight, during the night, and tomorrow, once I put my feet back into Portugal, onto the Portuguese. If
anyone, and good on you, because you're doing this on your holiday here, Anna, and thank you very much. If anybody does want more details and they want to just get their name down on a waiting list, if you like, just drop me a line. You know where I am, 913-590-303, or carl@goodmorningportugal.com, and I'll make sure that Anna gets that. Sarah's here. Jim wants to know more about day 2.
We're stuck on okay, so the pronunciation, and we just explained why that is so important to work on that too. And then we'll have like a vocab survival kit also. There you don't need like a basic knowledge of the language, but if you do have it, we'll adapt accordingly, and we'll have you again go immediately into the field, because we're going to do an interactive city game with many people in San Martin who are going to participate in this game, where you will have to go to different places and do things in Portuguese.
Oh my word.
With that survival kit, of course. You don't have to. There you go, Jim. So that's the second day's Portuguese in action. You'll go into action, and then we'll have, of course, can't forget to say that. Very important. Those days everything is included. So we have great lunches, we have great dinners at super unique places. So all that also is included, and lots of nice drinks, of course, because
day 3 then is just lying on the beach.
The tongue.
Is day 3 just lying on the beach here at San Martin drinking a cocktail?
Nope, it isn't.
I thought
Day
you might
3.
do that.
No. Day 3 is about, the name of day 3 is cultural heritage and celebration. So that will be about, we'll have a guided historic tour around San Martin, because San Martin is not only very pretty, it has a very rich history. Many things you wouldn't think happened there. I know every Portuguese thinks their town is the center of the world and history of Portugal. But I was really surprised upon reading into all that. There's many fun facts. There's many very interesting facts. So you'll be able at the end of that day to impress anyone on your knowledge about Portugal and San Martin, specifically. Yeah, and we'll have like some sweet stops, and good tips to come back to San Martin, because of course that would be great if we could get people to be enthusiastic about coming back, because it is really a unique place. So that's in the morning, and then at noon we're going to join your Wednesday meetup with the expats. So that the idea is to have like a proper festa this time, with all the expats there. Also the Portuguese people that have helped us in this project. So we'll be all sitting together, have a special day. It's always special that Wednesday. Those meetups with you are always special, but this is going to be extra special.
Taking it to a new level. I understand. Fantastic.
Yeah. And then we'll finish with going back to that cultural bar, which is a really special place, this time with live music, which also the live music is going to be Portuguese music, not fado. And we're going to understand.
There's a difference?
Also, there is a difference, absolutely. Yes, there are, and there are many. Also, their music is very important to the Portuguese, and they have. There is so many things you can discover when you understand what they're singing about them, and about how they work and think, and again, their history and their heritage is so important to them. So we'll learn to understand what these people are singing, and it's just a great evening also. Great evening.
What a fabulous place. Anna and Ricardo run an amazing experience basically there, don't they, with the food locally sourced. They've got such a, like you say, this is a normal Portuguese sensibility or quality, isn't it, to be proud of the food and the culture.
Absolutely.
They again, a lot of this is about taking things to the next level, I think, and they certainly do that there. And the music on a Wednesday night is great fun. What a lovely experience you speak of here, Anna. The website will be available in the next couple of days. I'll make sure everybody knows about it
tomorrow.
You want people to come back to San Martin de Porto. And did you hear her, San Martin? She talks like a local. I'm like British, San Martin de Porto. And there is Anna, San Martin. That's how local people say it, everybody. That's why she says it like that. And we've got this new hotel. Have you popped in there, Anna? Have you seen this new Storytellers Hotel?
I've popped in. Well, I've got a hotel set aside for this project, but I am going to try to do that new hotel if we can arrange that. I haven't been able to find anyone there, but it's this is a really unique place. That hotel, it's a 5-star hotel. That's not really important, but you can see it breathes history, it breathes cultural heritage. It's right on the bay. That must be a very unique experience. So I'm really going to try to, if we can do that would be even more unique. But I don't want to,
that's for part 2.
That's for part 2. Yes. If I can do that, I'll come back on the show to announce that we can do that. But I still want to be stay within the price range.
No, I
So
understand.
I
think that is
I'll
another
have to be very convincing there, but
Yeah.
we'll
Well,
try.
the guy who owns it, he's got a hotel in Sintra. I met him. I stuck my head up, my nose to the glass to have a look in, to be greeted by another nose on the other side who very kindly, I said, I'm so sorry, I'm just being nosy. He said, come on in, I'll show you around. And he works in film and TV, and he owns a hotel in Sintra, and he's bought and renovated I think it was Il Capitan, it was called, was it not? It was the very important building, like you say, historically important building in San Martino here. And he's renovated it to the highest standard. The rooms are named after storytellers. And there's the Gatsby cocktail bar there as well. So for part 2, which you'll meet there, do you do driving lessons as part of this? San Martino de Porto has also very narrow streets. Almost got my car stuck there. He's on his own with that, hasn't he?
Unfortunately, I don't have no. I'm not going to do that.
Don't drive, Matthew, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and don't believe the sat nav necessarily coming into San Martino de Porto. That is a thinking problem there. Great job, Anna. This is fantastic. It's lovely to see the development and evolution of this project from the early days of thinking this might be a great place to have a language and culture course, and you've done an amazing job in fleshing that out and furnishing the course, and I think people are going to have an amazing time here. Details to follow then within the next 24 hours, and I'll make sure they're shared here. Any questions, James?
No, it all sounds amazing. The questions I have are all the same questions about when, how much, those kinds of things that are going to be addressed. So
we'll have a special launching prize.
Perfect.
Yes, of course. Done some calculating, and we'll have a special launching price. And I'm even thinking, but I still have to see what Carl thinks about that. So maybe I'm even thinking maybe we could, like, for the first time, offer the 3-day package with everything in it, like a hotel and everything, and then have because that's very important to say. I want to keep it small, in the sense that it's very important, if we really want to make it transformational, if we really want to make people feel like they've took everything out of it as much as possible. We can't do this for a group of 40, 50 just yet. And so I really want to, even the first, because this is going to be a first experience, maybe if it's a success, we can do that more often, more regularly, but then and maybe for larger groups, but it all depends on the first time, of course. And I really want the first time to be like very good. I mean, I want it to be a success. I want people to have like that quality. So we're going to keep the groups very small, but maybe we could add some people who just enroll for 1 day. So divide the 3 days, so per day. We could do that too, but it will be a maximum. Have for the let's say per day a maximum of 12 people. Maybe the 3rd day could be stretched a little until 20 people, because then we have the historic tour. It's less like it's not coaching. So the 3rd day is more like heritage and festa, and we can enlarge the group a little. But especially the first 2 days, as there is lots of coaching going on, and I really want to be able to personally help people and ask the Portuguese that are going to join us to really have a personal connection with those people. It's very important, if we want to have it meaningful, that we keep the group very small. So it will be a very small,
totally understand.
small thing.
No, makes a lot of sense. A quality service there. Anna, great job. Don't go anywhere. We're going to do the dad jokes now. I know we've kept you past 10, and you probably want to go back to hanging out with the family. Just a few more minutes then.
A few more minutes, I can do that. But then I really have to go back.
Going back to the Lao Bangs at Easter, there are fireworks restrictions. Oh, actually, other times of year as well. There are fireworks restrictions during summer due to the fire hazard. So don't be launching off rockets and bangers in the summer. That makes sense there. Antonio, thank you. Dad jokes. My wife asked for peace and quiet while she cooked dinner. No fireworks. So I disconnected the smoke detector. Oh, awkward. I went to a restaurant on the moon. Great food, but no atmosphere. It's a hard crowd this morning, isn't it? T-Duck. Finally.
I didn't get the first one because the internet was out for a minute.
I'll you again. So. My wife asked for peace and quiet while she cooked dinner, so I disconnected the smoke detector. He's not getting any dinner tonight, is he? I went to a job interview the other day. They asked if I could perform under pressure. I said no, but I could perform Bohemian Rhapsody.
It's a variation on one I shared last week, I think.
It might have been, but that's the whole point of dad jokes, isn't it? It's never too early to hear them again. Okay. Anna.
And again, and again.
And again. Anna, James, been brilliant this morning on a Mindful Migration Monday. Great to hear about the Portuguese Immersion Experience.
Thank you very much for having me again.
Years ahead of it. And
thank you, James, for the support.
And it's always a pleasure.
He's a big fan. He's a big fan. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in this morning. Thank you, Anna, James, and Carl. So we'll give you a nice round of applause. I'll say goodbye to these two, and I'll be back for a bit of Iberian FM action after a few minutes' time. But a big round of applause for you both. Take care and bye for now. Let me play that Iberian FM theme tune. Let's get into that right now. Take care. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, James. Bye for now.
Bye.
Are you Iberian? Let's hang out for a bit longer. I have got a couple of videos to play for you. One of them, of course, from Barcelona. The other from Tavira. If you like your Volkswagen Beetles, stick around for this. I think we'll be here for a few minutes longer. If you want to talk about anything to do with Spain, Portugal, as we broaden our horizons from 10 o'clock usually in the morning, you can talk about Spain, Portugal, Gibraltar, that part of southern France that's part of the Iberian Peninsula, and Andorra. We've yet to speak to somebody from Andorra. Do you know anybody in Andorra? I would love to chat with them. Let's go to Barcelona now, though, and see this compendium video that Veronica has very thoughtfully made for us to get you in the mood for a bit of Iberian business. How she did that. Fantastic. There's Veronica and her buddy having a lovely time in Barcelona there. And I've got a video to share with you from Tavira as well now, as you prepare yourself to call in if you wish. Are you Iberian? Is there something you want to know about Spain, Portugal, Gibraltar, Andorra, or the south of France? I have a video from Dougie, one of Dougie's 2-minute tasters. This one's slightly different. And we have a little event that he chanced upon. That I'm just hastily loading up now for you. What happened to Doug's bugs? Not those sort, not in a dodgy hotel that he stayed in. Here are Doug's bugs, just coming onto your screen right now. Enjoy.
This is an interesting little park. They call it a central park in a place called Tavira. And today just happens to be Beetle Day. Don't see many of these beach buggies. Obviously heavily restored. Got a metallic paint finish. All the air-cooled gubbins visible at the rear. They don't have to make a racket, but in a nice way. Ooh, I like this colour. Really nice. I think that's a 1970s one, the kind I used to remember around. They'd done away with all the austere metal dashboard. This actually had a sort of black matte finish plastic dashboard. This is a bit of a bone shaker. It's been lowered about as low as it can go. Look at that rear wheel. I don't know whether that's like meant to be. I don't know if you can even see it. It sort of kicks out. Ever so weird. That's probably a 1960s job, isn't it? Still got the metallic dashboard. Somebody's had a bit of fun restoring that. Absolutely beautiful. Oh, look at this one. That's a good colour. Obviously, it does a bit of a sort of beach. It's a beach bum's car. Obviously likes going between Spain and Portugal with his surfboard. But what a perfect car to do it in. Absolutely glorious. I love it. Now, you don't see many of these around, do you? And it's a design that's sort of aged pretty well. It doesn't look old-fashioned. Basically a Volkswagen Beetle that isn't a Volkswagen Beetle. Complete with the rear engine and all the louvers and things at the back here for the air-cooled job. Now then, if you're going on holiday in one of these, you need to take your toolkit. Apparently it's dead simple to work on inside there, but I wouldn't have a clue, to be honest. So Sunday afternoon in this lovely little central park in Sevilla on the Algarve. Loads of people come down with their classic cars and motorcycles. They just enjoy showing off, I think, and showing all their cars off in the sunshine. How nice is that?
Well, I think Mrs. M's just popped in for a bit of Iberian action. Just in a bit of Iberian FM. Be within just a moment. You were expecting me to have finished by now, weren't you? Sorry, Mrs. M. I'll take a cup of coffee with you, though, if you got one. Oh, okay, fair enough. All right, excellent stuff. I have a few things to share with you. A little bit of news now while we're here on Iberian FM. T-Duck, actually, going back to Dougie's video there, I always wanted a June buggy. We had a Manx for a while when I was a kid. There was a lot of cat talk earlier on. Are John and Pam getting a new cat? And there was talk about naming cats. A Manx is a cat then, presumably, as well as a kind of vehicle. Right, some specifically Iberian news, and I might have a look at the Portugal Resident and the Portugal News as well. I need a good news source for Spain. What do you use? To Le Monde now, the French publication, and an article entitled Spain and Portugal strengthen their Iberian axis. Who doesn't like to strengthen their Iberian axis first thing in the morning? I'll tell you what, why don't we have this in the background? Yes, the Iberian FM phone in. There you go. Let me just have a quick read through this. While the two countries have long been at odds, kind of, right? I mean, yeah, long as in what, centuries, maybe a difficult past, but like a lot of that's behind us, just a friendly rivalry now, isn't it? Like the French and the English. Their socialist prime ministers are coordinating closely to increase their influence in Brussels and invest in promising sectors. Interesting, maybe a little bit of joint Iberian pushback then in the EU. Spain and Portugal have decided to act on the saying that there is strength in numbers. Never have relations between the two neighbours, separated by Europe's oldest border, the Raya, and by a tumultuous history that has long nurtured mutual distrust. I think that's overplaying it, isn't it? Has it never been so good and fruitful? In the spring of 2022, they obtained the recognition by Brussels of an Iberian exception that allowed them to detach energy prices from gas in June. This lowered their bills considerably as they formed an energy island with little connection to the rest of Europe. Well done, the two countries. In the fall, they negotiated with Paris to build a new infrastructure project called H2Med, capable of transporting green hydrogen between the Iberian Peninsula and France. As Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez said on March the 15th during a meeting in Lanzarote in the Canary Islands with Portuguese Prime Minister Antonio Costa. He's been busy, hasn't he, recently? H2Med will place the Iberian nations at the forefront of the renewable energy hydrogen sector, contributing to the fight against climate change and clean energy leadership. The two men reiterated their ambition to make the peninsula a green energy hub. How about that? That's from Le Monde then there. And then you can see the Portuguese Minister for Science, Technology and Higher Education, Elvira Fortunato, Portuguese Prime Minister Antonio Costa in the picture there, Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez, and Spanish Minister of Universities Joan Subriat Humet attending a signing of agreements at the Los Llameos del Agua on March the 15th there in Lanzarote. Nice work if you can get it. The Le Monde there. Thank you very much for that. I'll do a few. I think I'm going to do a few quick. I think I've caught you unawares there with anything phoning in that might be going on. Back to dune buggies. My dad built a dune buggy out of a Volkswagen when I was a kid in the 60s. It was purple, fiberglass, and a blast. So a few people enjoying that then, I think, this morning. Doug's Bugs. They're a lot of fun. I remember sitting on the back bench, hanging onto the roll bar. No seatbelts in those days. How did we survive? Hola, bon dia todos. Hey, Chris. I loved your musical selections on Facebook over the weekend. That was really cool. That mashup of 90s tunes. Yes, they are that old, aren't they? Portugal news then quickly. And please, yeah, if you can recommend to me a good Spanish or an English-speaking Spanish newspaper online that I can go to for headlines, that would be great. Maximum fire danger in the Algarve at the moment. Be careful. Those Lisbon Roman galleries are opening for 3 days only. They're not always open, but there's a little window of opportunity for the Lisbon Roman galleries. We've got over 100 continuing to fight fires here in Portugal. That was 16 hours ago. So the hot weather has brought some fires, unfortunately. More explosions ended in Portugal, not just celebratory kind. Explosive device found on a beach. That was in the last day. And do you know, asked the Portugal News, the rules for electric scooters in Portugal? That's there at theportugalnews.com if you want to find out. Couple of Golden Visa articles. We've got the end of the Golden Visa threatening 34 million euros in cultural projects. That can't be good, can it? And a Frida Kahlo immersive experience. I think that's coming to Lisbon. Let's have a quick look at that. In addition to Frida Kahlo, the immersive biography, Mysterious Egypt will also remain on display until June the 18th of this year. Art lovers and Frida Kahlos will have more opportunities to visit the only immersive exhibition dedicated to the Mexican artist's life in Portugal, with an end date initially scheduled for the 9th of April. That's been extended then to June. So that looks like good fun, and the pictures look pretty cool there. The Frida Kahlo immersive biography can be visited from Tuesday to Sunday from 4:30 p.m. Oh, it's a late start. Tickets cost between 8 and 15 euros. Mysterious Egypt, in turn, is available from Tuesday to Sunday. Wow, we are extending beyond the Portuguese and Iberian Peninsula here. And you can find out more at portugalagenda.com. I will, if you're a Frida Kahlo fan or a fan of Egypt for that matter, I'm going to pop that into the chat for you now so you can find out more about that Frida Kahlo exhibition. Yeah, T-Duck, we off-roaded and not with Mum around. She would have had a heart attack if she saw. Yes. Sounds like a kind of dad thing, that, doesn't it? Portugal resident then going back to the Golden Visa. There are a group of stakeholders pushing back against the axing of the regime. Predicted mass recourse to courts begins. Just as the observers predicted, the pushback by investors to the government's decision to axe the Golden Visa residency program with no official warning or timescale offer to applications already underway has begun. So there is a group, Justice for, number 4, PTGVinvestors.com has been launched under the banner. I'll also put this in the chat for you, has been launched under the banner, Investors Deserve Fair Treatment. So while they might not have the most immediate amount of compassion from members of the general public, those wealthy people complaining about not being able to invest, they have been poorly treated, and they have a petition that has been created and a website that you can click through to if you're interested in that particular article at the moment. That's in the chat now. Also, this you may find interesting. I'm intrigued by this, and I think there will be something of an emotional response to this, understandably so, you might say. Chega's great right-wing World Summit, a big headache for the police. Now, this is coming to Lisbon, supposedly. I'll bring it onto the screen for you now. This is a sign of the times, isn't it? As reported in the Portugal Resident here. And we'll finish on this. But we have a right-wing World Summit. And I see it's in inverted commas because there's some interesting reporting going on with this, and it's not well, judge for yourself. Jair Bolsonaro, Matteo Salvini already confirmed invite sent to Trump and Le Pen, perhaps coming to a capital city in Portugal near you. The presence in Lisbon of various leaders of the world's extreme right promises to be a big headache for the PSP police, who will have to guarantee security for those taking part in the summit between May 13th and 14th. So says Correio de Manhã, the tabloid here in Portugal today. And this was reported, when was this? At the weekend, I think. We've got Natasha Don on the 8th of April. Yeah, a couple of days ago. So the paper said, or they followed up on the video statement recorded by André Ventura, leader of Portugal's right-wing party Chega. According to Ventura's statement, the presence of Jair Bolsonaro, Matteo Salvini, and many other leaders of the European right places Lisbon as one of the strongest news centers of the right in Europe and one of the world references in the fight against socialism, the fight against impoverishment, the fight against globalism, the fight against federalism, the fight against gender ideology, the fight against the dignity of those who work, for those who live at the cost of those who work. My goodness, inflammatory stuff, right? Correio de Manhã suggests the Lisbon summit aims to emulate events put on by the ultra-conservative American movement championed by former President Donald Trump. Excuse me, tickly throat. Mr. Trump has already been sent an invitation to the summit, as is France's right-wing icon Marine Le Pen. I'm going to need a sip of water, bear with me. Wow, that's some dead air right there. Confirmed for the event already are former President Bolsonaro, Italian Deputy Prime Minister Salvini, Geert Wilders of Holland's Freedom Party, Tino Schupralia, President of Germany's alternative AfD party, Santiago Abascal of Spain's Vox party, says the paper, adding that Chega has been in touch with the Ministry of Internal Administration, which will have to articulate security. I think some big security is going to be needed at this event. It will be what the media refer to as a flashpoint. As of now, the venue for this great right-wing world summit, is that really what it's called? The description, yes, given by André Ventura is unclear because according to the Chega source, security teams are finding difficulties with regard to open-air venues. Campo Pequeno was the first choice, but a decision is still dependent on whether or not this is considered safe enough. That is quite the security headache for the PSP. Final paragraph, and we'll close here today. Chega has been Portugal's third largest political force. Can you believe that? Since the last legislative elections, but what the party also boasts, according to recent opinion polls, is the fastest growing level of support. A poll conducted last month, but PS Socialists falling in popularity. PSD growing, but in lackluster fashion, while Chega has steamrolled forwards to receive its best result yet. I think this is what happens when people don't feel heard, and the incumbents, those in power, who don't necessarily appear to be respectful of people's opinions, and that's certainly been clear, hasn't it, in recent times? I don't think people have felt heard. And this is probably what happens. We go to the fringes thereafter. Let me know what you think. We can continue this conversation tomorrow with more Iberian FM action. I'll let you go now and enjoy the rest. If you are in a part of Portugal that is enjoying the continuation of the Easter celebrations, have a great day. Otherwise, it might be business as usual, and it will certainly be business as usual for us tomorrow morning as we return for the Good Morning Portugal show. We shall see you then and wish you a great day. Take care. And bye for now. Where's that jingle of mine there?